They walked in just wanting dinner. A black family, well-dressed, polite, hopeful, stepped into a popular restaurant on a Saturday night. They had a reservation. They had every right to be there. But within minutes, they were humiliated, dismissed, and shown the door. What the staff didn't know was who that family really was, and who they knew. Because just minutes after that door closed behind them, 4 lawyers walked in, and everything started to unravel. This is what happened. It was early evening in Charleston, South Carolina. Mark and Darlene Carter had planned this night for weeks. Their sons, Jordan and Miles, had done well in school. Miles had just been accepted into a prestigious summer program. They wanted to celebrate. Mark booked a reservation at a well-rated restaurant on King Street, one of those places with white tablecloths, candles on every table, and prices that make you check the menu twice. The kind of place you go when you want to make a moment feel important. At 7:10 p.m. the Carters arrived, Mark in a dark blazer, Darlene in a deep blue dress. The boys cleaned up sharp. They walked through the front doors together, laughing softly at a joke Miles had made. Inside, the vibe shifted. Not loudly, not immediately, just enough to feel. The hostess paused when she saw them, just a half-second too long. The way someone pauses when they weren't expecting you. Mark stepped up to the stand. "Reservation for Carter," he said. The hostess checked her screen, tapped, looked confused. "I'm not seeing it," she said. Mark stayed calm, pulled out his phone. "I have the confirmation right here." She glanced at it. "Right. Okay, but it's not in the system anymore. Maybe it didn't process." "We got the confirmation yesterday," Darlene said. "I'm sorry," the hostess replied. "We're booked tonight." The Carters looked around. At least 4 open tables in sight. A couple just walked out. Another one was being cleaned. Still, the staff insisted and fully booked, and then right behind them a white couple walked in. No reservation, no problem. The hostess smiled and led them right to a table. Mark watched it happen. His jaw clenched, but he didn't say much. He turned to his wife. She gave a small nod. They understood. Jordan spoke up. "You're not going to say anything. They just walked in." "Enough," Mark said, calm but sharp. He looked at the manager, who had joined the scene by now. "You've made your choice." And with that, they walked out. No yelling, no scene, just quiet, bitter clarity. They got back in the car. Darlene didn't speak. Miles stared out the window. Jordan asked, "So what, we're just leaving?" Mark didn't answer. He was already dialing a number. 20 minutes later, the front door opened again. Same restaurant, but a different presence. 4 individuals in tailored suits stepped in. 2 men, 2 women, all black, all confident. They didn't wait to be greeted. One of them, Renee, walked directly to the hostess and said, "We're here to speak to the manager." The manager came out, visibly uneasy. "Can I help you?" Renee's tone didn't rise. It didn't need to. "Yes, we're here on behalf of the Carter family. They were turned away earlier tonight." The manager's face froze. I don't know what you mean." "You deleted their reservation," another lawyer said. "They had a confirmation. They were denied service and your staff seated others right after." "There was a system error," the manager muttered. "We're here to verify that," Renee replied. "So we'd like access to the seating logs for the evening. Reservation entries, cancellations, timestamps. We'll also need names of all on-duty staff." I don't know if I can share that." One of the male lawyers stepped forward. "Then we'll make the request through formal legal channels. But you'll be answering questions, tonight or later." The restaurant, full of quiet diners and softly clinking glasses, had turned into a stage. The lawyers took a corner table, not to eat, but to collect. And the staff? They watched, whispered, moved nervously. Because the truth had a way of filling a room. If you believe stories like this need to be told, subscribe to the channel. This one isn't over yet. What happened next? You need to hear. The tension inside the restaurant was rising. The lawyers sat calmly, but everything about them said we're not going anywhere. The manager had retreated to the back office, clearly trying to decide if he should call the owner, the company lawyer, or just wait this out and hope they left. But hope wasn't going to help him tonight. Renee had already started taking notes. Next to her, Marcus was scrolling through the restaurant's online reservation platform on his laptop, the same one the Carters used. He cross-checked the timestamp on their confirmation with the live records. And there it was, 6:59 p.m. Carter, party of 4. Status, confirmed. Then at 7:01 p.m., cancelled manually. No explanation, no error code, just gone. What kind of system glitch deletes only one reservation but keeps every other one intact? Marcus said quietly. Renee didn't respond. She was watching. The hostess, nervous now, approached their table. I printed the last 2 hours of seating logs. Here, she said, handing Renee a few pages. Renee flipped through them. 2 walk-ins accepted within minutes of the Carters being turned away. Both seated at open tables. No sign of being told fully booked. No sign of any problem at all. She thanked the hostess gently. This isn't your fault. But I need you to be honest, if anyone asks what happened tonight. Can you do that? The girl nodded slowly. I will. The manager returned, trying to save face. We'd like to offer you and the Carter family a complimentary dinner, and we deeply regret any miscommunication that may have happened earlier. Renee stood up. It's not about dinner. It's about accountability. The manager opened his mouth to respond, but she didn't give him the chance. You didn't just cancel a reservation. You made a decision, a clear one, to remove a black family from your guest list while letting others walk in off the street. You embarrassed them in front of their children. You treated them like they didn't belong here. The entire restaurant could hear her now. She wasn't shouting, she didn't need to. Her voice carried the weight of something undeniable. You can't fix that with free dessert. They left the restaurant without accepting a single thing. And outside under the city lights, they met the Carters in the parking lot. Mark shook Marcus's hand. Darlene hugged Renee. The boys stood tall beside their parents, watching and learning. This isn't just for us, Mark said. It's for the next black family that walks through those doors. By Monday morning, the Carters had filed an official civil rights complaint with the state. The lawyers had already gathered statements from witnesses, including a server who confirmed that the Carters' name had been on the list earlier that evening. The restaurant's reservation system, subpoenaed by court order, told the rest of the story. The deletion had come from a manager's login. There was no system crash, no technical glitch, just a deliberate choice buried under a lie. The story hit local media, then national. People began leaving reviews, calling out the restaurant, sharing their own experiences. And something unexpected happened. Other employees started speaking up. A former hostess came forward, saying she'd been told to be careful who she sat up front. A server who'd worked there for 3 years admitted that she'd seen other black patrons redirected to bar seating, even when the dining room was wide open. It wasn't just a one-time mistake. It was a pattern, a culture. Under pressure, the restaurant released a statement, the usual carefully worded apology about falling short of our values. But it didn't work. The internet doesn't forget, and neither did the community. Within a month, the restaurant's numbers dropped. Bookings fell off. The owner tried rebranding, changed the name, changed the colors, but the damage was done. Meanwhile, the lawsuit moved forward. The Carters weren't looking for a payout. They wanted policy change, training, oversight. And eventually, they got it. Under court agreement, the restaurant chain agreed to mandatory anti-discrimination training, third-party audits of guest treatment, and a public admission of wrongdoing. Was that enough? Not really. But it was a start. Because what happened that night wasn't rare. It wasn't shocking to those who've lived it. But it was exposed. And that made a difference. Mark and Darlene didn't go looking for a fight. They went out for dinner. They showed up with grace and dignity and were met with exclusion. But they didn't let it slide. And because of that, the next time a black family walks into that restaurant, or any place like it, someone will think twice before making them feel like they don't belong. If you enjoy stories like this, Subscribe to Black Voices to keep following powerful stories just like this one.